Hey everybody, Jason here. So as a YouTuber and an independent filmmaker, I want to create videos that depict real stories. And sometimes those stories don't go quite the way that I want to. But I think to keep it real, I need to publish those as well. So let's watch this week's video, and then at the end, I'm going to discuss what went wrong. Hey everybody, it's Jason here. So today's April 22nd and it's Earth Day. So I decided to head up to the Bruce Peninsula and hike another part of the Bruce Trail. Right now I'm feeling a little unprepared for this. You know, normally I would be prepared, but the trail conditions are not at all what I expected. If you remember, I did another part of the Bruce Trail a few weeks ago, and the majority of the snow was gone. Since then, we've had more snow. Last weekend, we actually had a severe winter storm, ice storm, and obviously more snow fell. But since then, it's warmed up. Yesterday was, I think, 8 degrees Celsius, and today's around 10. So I had expected a lot more of it to have melted away. And maybe it's just, because it's so sheltered out here as well, just a lot of cedars and some jack pines. So maybe it's just that it's so sheltered and shaded that the original snow from winter is just stuck around. Regardless of the reason, trail conditions, poor. So been hiking for about, I don't know, like it feels like half an hour. It's probably only been like 15 minutes. And yeah, it's just, it's hard going. The snow is that kind, you step and you sink down, whatever, like 5 centimeters deep. Then you put your weight on your foot and you sink down, another 10 centimeters. And that's almost every step. So, yeah, definitely not good conditions. It's definitely concern about rolling my ankle, and like my knees have been, buckling it because of that. But, yeah, it's almost bad enough that I would say forget it, turn around. The thing is, I'm confident I'll be all right. I'm confident in my own skill. And I'm hopeful that as I get closer to Georgian Bay, it'll clear up more. So I guess we'll just have to see. It's nice up here though. So let's go have a look. So, just found this dead birch tree just like 10 feet, 15 feet off the trail. So I'm just going to take a bit of its bark and I'm not going to strip it down completely. Just going to get enough to start the fire later on tonight. Okay, well, saying trail conditions are poor. You know, I don't want you to think I'm a whiny baby or something, but yeah, that's no understatement. So this area, it's so uneven, you know? And I don't know if you can see this incredibly pointy rock right here. But just a moment ago, I just stepped down and crashed through the snow here. And that's the depth of the crevice that my foot went into. You know, 50-pound pack on my back, and, well, maybe not 50, 40-pound pack on my back, carrying tripod and camera. Yeah, that was unexpected. So, anyhow, I'm not gonna let that stop me, but I'm just gonna have to be careful. Okay, so I made it out to the first lookout. This is called White Bluff, and it's just looking out at Isthmus Bay. And somewhere over there behind me is the town of Lion's Head that I passed through to drive up here. So yeah, it's a nice view. So I got a long way to go still, so I'm gonna keep hiking. Okay, well, I've had to make a decision here. It's disappointing, actually, but I'm calling it quits. It's not a decision that I take lightly. You know, I'm definitely not a quitter. So here's the thing. It's 5:30 right now. I've just checked the map, and I'm about a quarter of the way to where there's camping. My shoes are soaked, my hiking shoes, and The bottom of my pants are soaked as well. My socks are soaked. Truthfully, I'm exhausted, you know, like every step. So, like I said at the beginning of the day, you know, I underestimated it. Definitely disappointed. But I hiked a little bit further in, and, you know, it was just so difficult, you know, snow, you know, going halfway up my shin. This snow is just terrible. It's not even snow anymore. It's like slush. So I'm just getting soaking wet. So that's the thing, you know, I have to weigh, you know, what are my options? Do I let my pride get in the way and, you know, keep hiking, trying to get to where the designated, you know, camping area is? I won't make it. So I know that, you know, once I'm there, I'll have to find all the firewood, you know, get camp set up. And, you know, if I was to make it, really, we're looking at, like at the rate that I'm hiking, really, we're looking at, it'd be probably, you know, like midnight by the time I got there, I would think. And I'm not familiar with this section of the Bruce Trail, and I'm just not willing to go hiking along the side of a cliff, you know, in the darkness. So, yeah. So yeah, I gotta make sure that, you know, I think it's just being responsible, you know. Even to get out, it's gonna be another, you know, 2 to 3 hours to turn around and hike back out. And it's tough going. So I might end up seeing myself, you know, setting up camp somewhere on the trail, you know, still. But, you know, the last little bit, you know, all just going through my mind, I've just been, you know, thinking to myself, you know, I gotta hike back out, you know, through all this again. So, anyway, sorry to disappoint you. Hope you enjoyed the view, at least. But I've never stopped on a trail before and called it quits. But it's supposed to get down to, you know, 0 tonight. My feet are soaked. If I can't get a fire going, that's going to be trouble. I don't want to set up camp just right here because it's not permitted, you know, and that's something that, you know, this area, it's a UNESCO Biosphere Reserve, you know, they have designated areas to camp in. You know, I do my best to leave no trace, so I don't want to set up camp here and, you know, break the rules just for whatever, my ego. So anyway, I'm done. Okay, so I've been thinking a lot about what went wrong. I think the main issue was that I didn't allow enough time to travel from where I parked my car to the campsite. Trail conditions were absolutely horrible. My body feels beat up from being out there yesterday. The number of times that I fell, the number of times that my feet went down into crevices, they're not captured on film because, you know, it happens and the camera's not running, but holy smokes. All of that aside, you know, getting wet, bad trail conditions, all of that, I would have been able to manage if I had provided enough time to travel. I got there too late in the day, and I think that's the mistake I made. If I had gotten there early, I would have been able to hike in. Even if it took me twice as long as I anticipated, I would still be able to get to camp in enough time to get a fire going, dry up, you know, be prepared, cook my dinner, all of that sort of thing, and be ready to hike out the next day. So that's where I failed. Travel time. Like I said in the video, I've never turned around before on a trail. Creating YouTube videos is interesting because it becomes very personal. I try not to give out too much information about who I am as a person. At the same time, I want to provide enough that you get a sense of who I am. So I keep a lot of stuff private. So I'm going to share something. So I have over 30 years experience training in martial arts and worked in just about every type of security investigation and law enforcement role that, you know, is out there. I'm not a tapper. Training in martial arts, I never gave up a fight. Not unless I was being choked to the point where I knew I was going to be injured, or arm locked and I knew my arm could break. I always fought through it. I don't like to give up. But I think that at times it's important that we know when there is the right time to give up. And I wouldn't have made it to camp. I had to evaluate the situation. I would have been stuck out on the trail and pitching my tent. It would have been difficult for me to dry out, and I would have been in an area that wasn't designated for camping in a unique UNESCO biosphere reserve. I try to not leave a trace or to have as minimal impact as I could, and that was really the deciding factor. There was no way that I could just pitch my tent on the trail and not leave a trace. So, what can I say? I'm disappointed, but I want a rematch.